Good afternoon. So as said, Michaela, I'm going to present a preliminary analysis of patients affected with Ebola and admitted to MSF Management Center during this current West African Ebola outbreak. So the objective of this presentation is to describe Ebola-confirmed patients admitted in the MSF centers and to present a preliminary exploration of the risk factors associated with death. So since the beginning of the epidemic, MSF opened 9 centers at different points in time and in the main 3 countries affected by the outbreak. So as you can see on the map, the first 2 were open in Guinea, so in Guékédou and in the capital Conakry, end of March 2014. And then Foya in Liberia and Kailaoun in Sierra Leone, close to the border of Guinea and close to Guékédou. Then in the capital of Liberia, Monrovia, in August, the picture Etienne shown was there, and in Bo in Sierra Leone in September. And then 3 others in Sierra Leone, 2 in the capital Freetown, and 1 in Magboraka from December to January this year. Other small or temporary centers were open for a short period, but data from this EMC, as we call them, has not been pulled in this analysis. In total, 15 EMC, or transit centers, have been opened by MSF. So this slide presents a summary table of patients admitted and confirmed positive by an Ebola PCR test up to the 10th of May of this year in the 9 centers. As you may see, there was great difference between centers, ranging from more than 1,000 confirmed cases in Guékédou and Monrovia to just a few confirmed cases in Magboraka and Kissy, the 2 centers which were open last. In total, MSF admitted 8,667 patients, of whom 5,040 were confirmed with Ebola, representing about 60% of the admission. The other patients were discharged as non-Ebola cases. This proportion varied greatly between centers according to the setup. The 5,040 patients are the patients included in the analysis I'm going to present, and they are representing about 30% of all confirmed cases reported for the 3 countries by WHO and Ministries of Health. So we pulled line list data of the 9 centers I mentioned earlier, and we carried out a descriptive analysis for sex, age, time to admission, and case fatality. Regarding the factors associated to death, we estimated incidence rate ratios in univariate and multivariate Poisson regression, and estimates were adjusted for variability among centers. So a low number of children, 5.6% of total cases, were admitted to the centers. The majority of cases were within the 15 to 54 years age group. Ebola cases admitted were evenly distributed between male and female. The age and sex distribution were similar in all the 9 centers. Regarding the time to admission, 35% reported coming to the centers within 3 days since the onset of the symptoms, 45% between 4 and 7 days, but almost 20% after 8 days or more. For this variable, we observed some important differences between centers. Some centers had a longer median time to admission, mostly because their patients stayed some days in a transit or a holding center, as they are sometimes called, before being admitted. So we looked at case fatality over time. In this graph, you can see the blue bars corresponding to the monthly total of admitted confirmed cases, and the red line corresponding to the overall case fatality. There is a decreasing trend clearly visible in the months from August to December, the period during which the majority of cases were admitted. This decreasing trend has been observed in all centers with the exception of Donka and Bo. So we then looked at change in case fatality according to age, with age as a continuous variable and with the lowest estimate. You can see a G-shaped curve, and the risk of dying is at around 70% in young children. It then decreases progressively with the lowest values observed at the ages of 15 to 20 years. From around 20 years, there is a steady increase in the risk, reaching again 70 to 80% after 60 years old. This slide presents the case fatality by center. So case fatality ranged from 38% in Bo to around 60% in Foya. The overall case fatality was 52%. If we take as reference Gekedu, so where the epidemic started and the first center opened, the death risk ratio was significantly lower in Donka, Kailahun, and Bo. So we then explore the probability of survival according to the cycle threshold at admission. So we plot Kaplan-Meier survival curve for each of the 7 centers for which this information is currently available. Data are not yet available for Donka and Kisi. So I remind you that we use the cycle threshold that we call CT as a proxy of the viral load. Lower is the CT value, higher is the viral load. And so we split the variable into 3 groups: below 18 cycles, 18 to 22 cycles, and more than 22 cycles. The green curves on the graphs show the probability of survival for the person with CT value above 22, the pink representing the probability for the person between 18 and 22, and the blue the probability of survival for the person or patient with less than 18 cycles at admission. You may see that although some differences are observed between centers, overall patients with a CT value above 22, so a low viral load at admission, had a higher probability of survival, and patients with a CT value below 18 cycles, so a high viral load, had the lowest probability of survival. So this table presents the incidence rate ratios of the univariate and multivariate analysis for the factors associated to death. You can see that there is a decrease of the risk over time, that the death incidence rate in young children and in persons at older ages is twice as high as in persons aged 5 to 14 years, and that the risk of dying was not associated with the time to admission in this analysis. As you can see in this table, the death rate in patients with a cycle threshold below 18 at admission was more than 7 times higher than in patients with more than 22 cycles. This analysis was performed for the 7 centers and patients confirmed with CT value. These patients represented about 80% of the confirmed patients admitted in these centers. When this analysis is performed with all centers and thus without the CT value as variable, the other estimates were very similar to the one presented. So we then stratified the analysis by CT value. We show here 2 groups, less than 20 CT and 20 plus CT, and include the centers as covariable. Below 20 CT, months of admission, age groups remain significant factor. But regarding the centers, you might recall earlier in this presentation that being admitted in Bo and Kailahun appeared to be at lower risk. In fact, with this stratification, we can see that it disappeared. Actually, Bo appears to present a higher risk compared to Gekedu. For the patient presenting with a CT value above or equal 20 or above 20, again, months of admission and age remains a significant factor, and being a male appears as a significant factor also. And again, the variation between centers change, with Bo and Morovia presenting an increased risk compared to Gekedu. So we analyze that this analysis has several limitations. In particular, that we have analyzed a limited number of factors. Other factors need to be added in the analysis to have a more complete picture, in particular the clinical symptoms. Obviously, our analysis refers to patients admitted to our centers, and results cannot be extrapolated to other centers, or to the significant number of community cases and deaths, or to the cases who died on arrival to the center. We analyze the time to admission, but there is an open question regarding the reliability of this information. Another limitation is that we pull data from different centers, each with their own specific context, which might hide some ecological factors that we are not able to control for. And the support of different laboratories and lab assays makes the pooling of the lab data and results challenging. Distribution of CT value for each center suggests some measurement variability in the results provided between centers and laboratories. However, despite those limitations, we conclude that the cycle threshold at admission was clearly the main predictor of death in all centers, and comparison of case fatality rate between centers, as it has been done recently in some publication, should be looked at in the light of the CT distribution at admission, at least, and more broadly, the type of patient presenting in those EMC. We conclude also that the risk of dying is also clearly associated with age, with persons in younger and older age being more at risk, and that the death incidence rate decreases over time independently for at least the factor we were able to adjust for. Quite some work is still ahead, in particular on the analysis of symptoms at admission and on the treatment received during hospitalization, considering also the workload in those centers and in different points of time. It is also important that we keep working with laboratories in improving the information on viral load, harmonization between centers, and association of viral load with other factors. So I would like to acknowledge all MSF volunteers and local staff who worked and are still working very hard to fight this unprecedented epidemic, and to all epidemiologists.
Thank you very much, Sophie.